Well, I don't think anything gets even brought to a rational discussion until we first bring security to the borders, and I think that has to be the very first step that the President takes, is secure the borders physically and or electronically so that you stop this just porous situation where people come across at will. Until that happens, all of the discussion of what we need to be doing on this side with the existing immigrants, I think, becomes moot. Because that's the anger point, that's the flash point, is those pictures of people just running across the borders freely. And I think that's quite frankly legitimate. You know, I had to put this sticker on to get in this building. Now, I don't mind, that's, you know, part of the deal. But if I have to put a sticker on to get in the building, and I have to go through layers of security and prove who I am and show photo ID at the airports in Little Rock where they know who the heck I am, they all call me by name and shake my hand and have me sign things for their kids. The point is that I go through those layers of security because it's the law and because it's a way of saying we want a secure line between the curb and getting on that airplane. And I go through several layers. I mean, I still have to take my shoes off, put them in the tubs, and get my laptop out, and, you know, all the nonsense, hold my hands up, and look like I'm doing the perp walk right there at the airport. Well, I do that, not because they're really afraid of me on that airplane, but I have to show them a boarding pass to prove that there's a seat for me on that flight that I'm about to board. Well, if a person comes here to our country, whether it's the Canadian, the Mexican, or the Pacific or Atlantic coast border, they ought to prove who they are, show us some authentic identification. We need to know they don't have a criminal background, they're not bringing in a communicable disease, and we need to know that there's something on this side of the border that we can accommodate them in, that they have a seat on the plane, if you will. That's not unreasonable. I don't think that that's a harsh or unfair starting point. We have the problem we have because of congressional inaction for over 20 years. They knew this problem was continuing to boil, but like so many other things, they've done absolutely nothing to fix it. And I think the American people have a right to be angry about it. The next thing we do is we make it clear that there can't be a blanket amnesty, but there's got to be a pathway where, through restitution, paying a fine, acknowledging what they've done being wrong, we help them to take steps to be here legally and legitimately and to pay a fine. Absolutely. There can't be. I think amnesty is off the table. Has to be simply because the American people would never accept that, and it would set the wrong example. But it also has to be some type of fine and penalty that is commensurate with the level of crime. You know, you don't put a person in the on the lethal injection gurney for having done a parking violation, and you don't give a person a 20-year prison sentence for picking tomatoes or plucking chickens. I mean, let's be realistic here. So there's got to be something that's significant enough to say we can't just overlook this and let it happen again, but not so onerous that, frankly, you drive people into an underground economy even further and make them take the risk of not stepping forward, hoping not to get caught, as opposed to going ahead and legitimizing their presence.